Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic University podcast. I'm your host, Sherlock Canton III, and we are continuing our coverage of the Disney Plus series, Agatha All Along, episode 5. My goodness gracious, this was quite an episode. And we have a grand panel. We have a wonderful list of guests that we want to get to in a second. But before I do so, patreon.com/MCUniversityPod, where you could get our bonus content such as our subscriber mailbag later this month. We have what is this still October, Jake? This is still October, right? I drank a little bit.
It is still October.
So we got Bad Boys 2 that we just did with Rod. Rod is right there. And myself, Rod, and Jake did Bad Boys 2. And we had a little thing on the Penguin, which we will also talk about in this podcast later. So if you want to get that, $3 for all of our catalog of back episodes and the Discord as well. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube as you are right now, like, comment, subscribe, all those good things. So let's get to the panel. First, the super producer, Jake Christie. Jake, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Very excited to talk about this. Very excited that the Mets are doing well. Very excited that my family's all good from the hurricane. All W's for me right now.
Oh, you love to see it. You love to see it on all fronts. New York is quite the talk of the town right now. Let's hope the Yankees could fulfill their end of the deal. And let's get to our panel first. We leave the key under the mat for when he shows up. And when he shows up, we greet him with open arms. Our pal, Rod, a.k.a. the black guy who tips. Rod, how you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, man? Glad to be back. Missed y'all last week.
Of course. And welcoming back, and I have to say, it's been a while since Anthony Mays has been on the program. Cinephobe.
It's been a while.
Yes, exactly. There he is, Cinephobe Basketball Illuminati, which just came back this week. Mays, how you doing, sir?
That's right. Basketball Illuminati is back. I am happy to be here. I've missed all the Agatha episodes. Didn't work out for me, but I'm going to make up for lost time now.
Oh, wonderful. Happy to have you.
Congrats on the nuptials as well, or on the...
Thank
Oh,
you.
yes, that is correct.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. Congrats. Yes. We all love love. It's love to love. And finally, we have a nerdalist in the building. Her name is Rachel Leishman, friend of the program. Rachel, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm doing great. This headband is digging into my forehead, but I'm not taking it off.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
The entire
The
time.
commitment to the bit is wonderful. So I will start with Rachel since she is dealing with the head issues here. Rachel, as customary, when we don't have somebody on and they come on for the first time, we ask them for general thoughts on what they've thought as far as the series is concerned up to this point. What have you thought of Agatha All Along before this episode aired?
Oh, well, as a self-identified spooky bitch, I love this show very, very much. I think it is exactly kind of like it's a nice companion piece to WandaVision in the sense that we still have the theme of every single episode, but it is not doing the same thing that WandaVision did. It's just a little nod to what everyone liked about that show. And I really love that it, I know we'll get to it, but I love that it manages to have like obvious plot points still become shocking to audiences. Like we all kind of knew what was going to happen, and yet we still were like, this was so much cooler than we thought it was going to be when it happened. And I think that's really fun. That makes this show really cool.
Yes, I would happen to agree with you there. And Anthony Mays. Mays, what have you thought of Agatha so far?
What a bizarre Marvel year this has been. We have Deadpool and Wolverine and Agatha. This show would be cool if there was a bunch of other shows that kind of didn't care about big picture stuff as well, but since they've done such an impressive job of hacking every other weed down, it's so bizarre to me that this is what remained. I'm enjoying Catherine Hahn. How could you not? I like the rest of the cast, Patty LuPone, the GOAT, Aubrey Plaza. Like it's fun, but on the one hand, I have no idea what's happening or why. Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, that's cool, but this is the big Marvel offering, and that confuses me.
That's an interesting take. And I think the funny thing is to just like step outside for a second before we fully dive in. Over the last, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks, and especially we go back to Comic Con, Marvel has kind of been circling the wagons for its big next 2 years in 2025 and 2026. So it's been a topic point of where are we going? What does this mean? When are we seeing Avengers? How are we getting to the point where we're back into big stakes territory? And the only thing I say to that is we've spent so much time with them trying to get through all of the mistakes and the kind of issues that they've had over the past 2 years per se, that we've gotten to a point where it's kind of hard to find your way back per se. But I think the one thing I'll say about Agatha, just from a personal standpoint for me, is that I always look at this show in this particular lens, especially once after the first episode, we find out that Wanda's dead. So we figure Wanda's going to come back somehow. So this road to reviving her intrigues me. And obviously, me with the detective get up and all, because I'm hunting for Mephisto. And we got a name mention of Mephisto earlier in the season. So I that's what I'm looking for currently. But Maze, we will try and pique your interest as this episode goes along. So this episode, I have before I go around the room for general thoughts, I will say this: as I watched this episode, and it was a very people on the internet just annoy me with the well, why isn't it longer? It needs to be an hour. It needs to be
Can I be honest with you? That's my take. I'm just gonna say that up front.
really.
I think it's because I'll say this. I would
Huh.
think if it felt like there was enough meat on the bone of the section where they're doing like the 80s Ouija party, I just felt like there was so much more they could have done there. I felt like it could have been longer. I don't know, but I'm kind of a purist about that sort of thing. I don't need.
Interesting.
I don't
All
know.
right, so like
I just
yeah,
yeah.
before all right, so before I'm gonna throw it to Rod first, but I think I want to say this towards that. I feel like sometimes, in especially in this instance with this episode, efficiency is better. I feel like they got to the things that they needed to get to, and then on top of
Yeah.
that, at the end, they left you with something to feel like okay, I'm ready for next week, which is what I think TV is supposed to do.
I agree, but I also would say that I think that the part of TV is having a general shape of episodes, and I feel like the part of I related to what May says of like we don't know why anything's going
Okay.
on or anything. It just feels like there's so much stuff that's left ambiguous, and I notice that a lot more where I'm like, you had 10-15 minutes you could have done stuff with, and so I also am just kind of like, I don't love that streaming has made people think that TV can be anything from a half hour to an hour 20 minutes, and both those are
So
okay. I
annoying.
hate that. But anyway, sorry, let Rod go. I'm being the person you're making fun of on the internet.
A little bit. Rod, what did you generally think of this episode, sir?
I really enjoyed it, man. I mean, last week I wasn't here, and the musical episode I thought was like awesome. I love that they're taking so many chances. It's so ironic that so many people felt inundated with Marvel stuff, and we were like, can y'all fall back and just make a higher quality thing that is less about moving the next building block forward? We want to feel like we're getting some authentic, like, directors and showrunners visions, like, instead of just say, how do we make this into some more Iron Man or more movies? And with X-Men 97 and this, both of them kind of feel like they kind of said F the rest of Marvel. Like, we're just trying to make a story that's really fun to tune into every week. And I don't know what's going to happen. So, like, yeah, with the musical thing, I really enjoyed that episode, especially, we were talking earlier, I was like really nervous that they might do a Loki where we don't get to see the secondary characters like arcs much, and it's just kind of like this. It's all about Agatha, and it's been kind of the opposite. Like every stop has felt like we're getting into like everyone else's backstory, and that those backstories are gonna culminate and matter on this trip down this road. Um, So I like that. And then on this one, I love that it was like Agatha's room, Agatha's trial. We're at the midway mark of the show, and it starts with like in the darkest hour, and it kind of feels like, you know, a pretty dark ending for everybody on that road getting sucked into the mud and whatnot. So I love that. And then, you know, we talked about it last time I was on, but I'm really excited about an idea of a character that is bad, that is not going to become good.
Yes.
Like this, I don't know that
Yeah.
they'll do that, but this gave me hope that they could do that. Like this heel turn thing at the end, where I'm like, yes, why? Like we started with we were like, you're evil. What is up?
Yeah.
It kind of be cool not to like completely humanize and turn somebody into like an
Yeah.
anti-hero, but still kind of have them be a villain.
Huge L for the schmaltzy cornball community for me at the end of that episode. Yeah. Anyway,
Yes. Rod, I couldn't agree with you more as far as the heel turn stuff is concerned. I think that the way that she not only kills Alice, which that was a nice little surprise. I enjoyed that part, and I enjoyed the fact that she's been telling them folks the entire time this was what she was going to do, and so she's doing it. So it shouldn't surprise. It shouldn't surprise
It's
them.
kind of like Denzel in Training Day.
Yeah.
How like that movie really only works if you're like, but Denzel wouldn't be a bad guy, because at no point is that character ever like, is that there's never a moral quandary with that character where they're like, no, sometimes I do good things. It's like I only do bad things from scene one to the end, and yet still it's the third act when everyone in the theater is like, oh my god, Denzel's the bad guy. And I feel like, you know, every trope we have in these Marvel and comic book related things is like, the bad guy is kind of the good guy if you think about it. You just need to see what all their trauma is, and they're trying to do the right. They think they're doing the right thing, and she just did some like, no, I'm not doing the right thing at all, shit. And I love that.
Yeah, Rachel, let me ask you, in terms of like Agatha's character to this point, how have you felt about the way that they've positioned her, and then specifically now we get to this episode where she does the thing that she's kind of been saying all along, Agatha all along. What have you thought of how her character arc has gone thus far?
I do like that they kept teasing that she could, like, that there were certain things that she would make her better. Like, if Teen said something to her, she was like more willing to listen prior to this episode. But it was still like she was still also doing the same stuff Agatha always did. And it was just this episode made it clear that whenever she did have that switch, it was fully because she knew it would get her to the next step on the road and not necessarily because she is becoming a better person. And I like how they like let, like, if people thought Agatha could be a better person, that was fine. Like, okay, well, you had those 4 episodes where she was trying to do this stuff to like advance on the road, but then this episode made it very clear that it was like, no matter what, Agatha's always going to be Agatha. I do like the theory that like with Alice, it wasn't fully in her control, because when I watched it again, and when you watch it again, like she switches, but she still is she's still possessed by her mom. So it's like, it's a mix of two different things at the same time. So you can kind of decide which one it is, if Agatha actually did it, or if it was her mom possessing her, and then Agatha reaped the repercussions of it. But I don't know. I think it's cool how they're kind of towing the line with her.
The personality change was interesting after the fact. After that happened, it seemed like she dialed it up to she was on 10. Maze, what did you think of these proceedings?
So, man, I honestly like don't really know. I've been somewhat like engaged with this show, but there's not, for whatever reason, there's not that spark that's making me want to find out more. And so, all right, so Agatha hasn't had her powers. She gets a jump from Alice, and then all of a sudden she's got her powers back, and we're just gonna progressively kill one witch after another, it seems like, in every episode, as well as go to a different trial with a different costume change. Although AC is going to be wearing his costume, I guess, the same in every episode.
Yes.
It feels like oddly formulaic in a way, and it doesn't like this being Agatha's trial. I didn't get much connection to her out of this
Can I actually say a
80s
specific
sleepover
thing?
thing.
Can I say a specific thing that one of the things I wish they would have used the extra runtime
Mhm.
for? There, obviously we know that her son is dead, but the fact that like the solution to it is to say the name of her son, that's what comes up on the Ouija board. I think that that was kind of like an out of nowhere reveal, and if they could have tied, the location to her son, or seeded it more, or like had her clearly, like, you can read into it after the fact, but I think it would be much more interesting if it was if what we were watching was Agatha knowing that the answer was going to be her son's name and trying to avoid that or something like that. It does just feel like the fact that the solution was to say the name of her son was unrelated to the rest of the stuff that was happening in that trial. And
What do you mean the solution? It was his spirit.
what do you mean? The door opens when he said
Yeah,
when Teen
yeah.
says
No,
his name?
no. The door opens when they saw like Agatha has been punished, and they say goodbye, and then the door opens. Nicholas Scratch is like, because his spirit was speaking. That's what was happening with Mrs. when they did the Mrs. Hart thing, and then death and all that. It was Nicholas is speaking, and that's when he says Nicholas Scratch, and then you hear the voice be like, "Mommy, stop," or whatever it is, and then that's when Agatha like stops killing Alice. So it was his spirit that was there, not like the answer to get out of the thing. It was that she had to remember, like she heard her son's voice, stopped killing Alice, and then he could say goodbye on the Ouija board.
So Jake,
So
Jake,
am
you
I
thought
just
this was-
stupid, or is that not clear?
So wait, Jake, you thought this was Marvel's version of Batman versus Superman? Martha?
No,
Marvel.
yeah, I thought the solution was to have to say his name. Honestly, yeah, that's what I thought was going on.
Why did you say that name?
But no, so in that case, I don't take back everything I said because I still do wish it was longer.
Mhm.
But I don't know.
But regardless,
Yeah.
Rachel's right. I believe Rachel. She's wearing the crown. Then when that happens, the door pops open and the trial's over. And I still didn't get the connection between Nicholas talking, his spirit talking to her, and then that being the end of the trial. I didn't even really get what the trial was. Like, I guess the trial was to have her mom torture her, but then her mom wanted to keep her there. So would they have passed the trial if Agatha had stayed there? It's all kind of nonsense logic to me. And I feel like maybe there's a handbook that hasn't been a spell book that Teen has lost that I could maybe check that out and understand a little bit more about how this world works, because it seems kind of arbitrary all the time.
Which leads me to a thought that I had, and I saw someone else echo it, which is like, I actually think, and I think that they're actually kind of doing a little bit of a detriment to themselves by not, I don't know, maybe not, but I think that they're keeping all of this vague because I'm starting to think that this is like not actually what's going on right now is not what it seems. That like this is either not actually the Witch's Road or something's being manipulated, because I think that for a lot of it, I'm like, okay, maybe they're just yada yadaing stuff because they don't care. But I'm like, no, this actually just feels arbitrary to the point where like there is a grander plan, because Marvel can be sloppy, but this doesn't feel sloppy. This feels deliberately vague.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the fact that at the end of the episode we don't see Rio at all, when she was present for everything, we don't see her while everything happens. It does feel like there's an explicit plan with her kind of being behind a lot of the things that are going on to a degree.
The bit with Death where they kind of don't really show her, I thought that was interesting.
The bit with Death where they pan to Aubrey Plaza, to Rio's character, and she kind of has a little smirk on her face. That's another.
Don't ask about Death.
Right.
Well, to be fair, AC, it's Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah.
So her having a smirk on her face is not exactly indicative of anything. That's kind of a resting smirk
Well,
face.
I
if you
should
will.
just say by this point, most folks, as we've gone on in the past few weeks, have kind of surmised that she is deaf. So that's kind of like, that feels like that's the next reveal. As we got the stuff with the teen, and we now know that the teen is Billy. We'll get to that in a second, and things along those lines. But
Billie Eilish?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I need to.
Anyway.
I need to take a. I need to take
Oh
a.
my god.
Man, you
Did you
got
just
too
hit
many
the
props
pipe?
over there.
Did you just
Can I
hit the
be honest
pipe
with you?
like a joint though?
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah. That's
you
not how
did.
you smoke a pipe.
You trying to get it?
You hit that
But no,
joint.
can I will
Yes.
say a thing that I like that this show has done, and this is a thing I always recommend TV shows do, is get your reveals out of the way an episode or two faster than you think you should. Because I think that when I turned this episode on, one of my thoughts was either we need to learn a big piece of information about the teen, we need to learn a big piece of information about Agatha, or we need to learn a big piece of information about Rio by the end of this episode, because we can't have all of those things still on pause
100%.
going into this back half. Because eventually, this has been a problem with Marvel shows. I mean, it's one of the big problems with Falcon Winter Soldier, I think. That if you leave all of your reveals for the end, you actually just have a lot of nothing going on for the last couple episodes. And so I'm really glad that we got a big reveal, because then that allows the other reveals time to breathe. So I'm happy they did that.
I would tend to agree. What did we think about the reveal itself? I thought for something, I think Rachel mentioned it at the top, where I think for something that we all kind of had an idea that this was the case, that this person was Wanda's son.
Speak for yourself.
Face, I hate you. Yes, I feel like there's a good portion of people who have been along those lines the entire time. So getting it actually was very fun. And Rachel, I'll throw it back to you. You sounded like you enjoyed what you saw, and the reveal with the crown and everything, and they go to the crown music at the end. Well, I'll be damned.
Right there.
Bitch, Rachel, you got everything cooking
Crowns
here.
on crowns.
Yeah,
Crowns on crowns on
give
crowns.
me your thoughts on Billy coming to fruition.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet literally when we started this that was like 2 reveals that I figured was happening but were really into, and it was Manny Jacinto in The Acolyte, where you're like, yeah, he's the stranger, but it's
Fucking
fine.
hot? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, also that, but what is it, baby oil and something else he said?
Yeah.
But it was
Baby
like
oil.
that
Mention
reveal.
baby oil.
We're not
right
talking
now
about
is
baby
kinda
oil,
crazy.
but
Yeah,
actually.
what?
All right.
That's something
Yeah.
else, I think.
But that reveal and now this one are like 2 reveals that we both we knew that they were gonna, like, all right, well, the minute Joe Locke was cast, everyone was like, well, that's gonna be Wiccan, which I think is very funny, because I saw today he posted like 2 years of keeping this secret. Someone was like, what? How? You know it? We knew the minute it was
Everyone and their
announced
mama.
that you were Wiccan.
Mhm.
Yeah, like, this was not a surprise. But it's a testament to their show that, like, it happening, and the line where she's like, you are so much like your mother, and him instantly controlling everybody. I was like, this rules. This is what I wanted. Like, this is perfect for me. It means my girl's 100% going to come back by the end of the show. Hence why I'm looking like I'm looking. But I think it was like just a cool reveal. And then the crown with the needle drop made it like, I was fine with it being a 25-minute episode because of that.
Begs the question for me, as far as Billy is concerned. Since we know in WandaVision, we've asked this question almost every week. Since we know that the kids were not of that dimension of these 616, so is Billy inhabiting this body? Did he just manifest himself? Like, I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. That's where my curiosity is, because clearly it has to be some type of shenanigans for that to be the case, for him to be around. So I'm not sure what it may be, but I feel like there's an explanation to come that I'm guessing involves Rio to some degree. Rod, what did you think of this teen reveal and how that went? And do you have any? Are you still in the line of I want to keep following along and see what they give me, or do you have any other curiosities yourself?
Oh no, I'm very much in. I think the perfect zone of just like I'm not trying to figure out all the mysteries.
Mhm.
I like the shocking reveals. Like I'm like for a show like this, I wouldn't get much out of feeling or being right about it because this is not part of the comics that I was really like heavily following.
Mhm.
So like all this, some of these concepts are like new to me. The Salem 7 is new to me, even though they've been in the comics. I've never read those books. So like seeing like them turning to animals and cool shit like that is all like dope. But yeah, the reveal with Wiccan was super cool. Mostly because it was cool. Like not because I was like, oh my god, that's who he's been the whole time. It was more like that music, that crown,
Mhm.
the way he did his hands like his mom, and that fucking like bluish electricity coming off of him.
Mhm.
That shit was so cool. And then just pushing everybody off the road. I mean, sometimes cool overtakes all the other like cerebral shit of like,
Yeah.
you know, how what does this mean next for the characters? Like, I don't know, man.
Mhm.
And then like, I know Jake said it's too short or whatever. Even if it would have been longer, it just felt like the perfect place to end it. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, like that ending was like, oh shit, next week is gonna be
Yeah.
crazy. So that I
Well,
love the reveal.
because one of the principles that one of the few things I remember from college is that you want to end every act if it's a show with commercials, and if it's a serialized show, every episode with having the audience ask, "What are our characters going to do now?" And putting the other important characters in like a fucking swamp where they're drowning is a big what are these characters going to do now? And I think the fact that like I was wondering what I always figured that he was Billy, but what like how much does he know? Why is he with Agatha? And I think it's pretty clear that there is some dissonance between what he is aware of,
Mhm.
because the moment that she brings up his mother, a switch flips. And so is that a spell? Is he just so mad at that? Like what is going on that changes? And I think it's super interesting the fact that he's, the guy with the book flipping through to figure out what spells to do. And clearly he's actually more powerful than anyone because he can just swamp them easily.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to the first episode, we saw that he had at least a bit of power that kind of superseded what we would have expected to see at the end.
He was a raw talent. He was
Yeah,
a Josh Allen type.
that's a great way to.
Yeah, he put the team on his back at the end of the episode there.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
Early on, occasionally he tried to lateral it to some offensive linemen, but now he's putting up good numbers.
He threw along, went to a fullback just to end
Yep.
this episode.
Yeah,
Yep.
but let me throw it to you, Maze, because I think ultimately, and it's like Rachel said, I kind of feel the same way. We want to see Wanda back. We want to see eventually how she gets revived, and it seems like Billy's role is to be a part of that happening. What in terms of does the whole Billy thing interest you of terms of his powers? I'm trying to poke the Maze bear and see if we could get some excitement out of you.
Am I supposed to remember Billy?
The one of the younger
He was
kid
one of
who
the
sensed
sons
in
He
in
was in
WandaVision.
WandaVision.
Yeah.
He's one
Yeah.
of the kids.
Yeah.
He's the
As-
one that's not fast.
Right.
The one that's
Yeah.
not
There's a
fast, and
fast
he's
one, and then there's one that's like Wanda. He
and
is the
he's
one
like
that's like Wanda.
a little kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's in
Yes.
Doctor Strange. Yeah.
Okay. So sure, but it really it leads to more questions
Yes.
only, which is, was he playing possum this entire time and he had these powers but he wasn't using them? Was he activated kind of like how Agatha is activated when she gets her powers back? You guys already alluded, is he from a different universe? Is he in somebody else's body? Whole bunch of questions. Would love some exposition.
Yeah.
Maybe they can deliver that at some point on this road. Maybe that'll be one of the trials.
Get
But-
Michael York to reprise Basil Exposition and give all of it.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of what Rod said, like, yeah, the reveal was dope. It's a good way to end an episode. But as someone who has not been like consuming the extracurriculars of like theorizing on who's who, and I think I read one thing on who they thought Rio is, something about a green witch, but all that is new information to me regardless. So I wasn't thinking like, who's the teen? Is the teen Billy? And like one of the funniest things was I probably should have rewatched WandaVision because it has been a long time. It has been 4 years basically.
Talked about that before. Yeah.
And so in the first 2 episodes where we're like picking up essentially where WandaVision left off, it was a little fuzzy to me, and I probably could have used more of a refresher there. So, like, I guess I'll ask this to you, AC. Who put the charm on him that made him not able to say his name?
Well, I have been thinking that it was his mom, and I think it was something maybe unknowingly. Rachel shaking her head.
Sorry, I should have asked Rachel. She's wearing the crown.
Rachel shaking her head. Do you perhaps think that maybe it's Rio, or?
I think it was himself, because I think I am of the mindset that they're not actually on the road. That Billy is essentially doing to Agatha what Wanda did to Westview, and he's trying to get answers. I do think he's Billy Kaplan, not Billy Maximoff, which is a whole thing. And then because my whole theory is that this is the reverse of most of the comics where Agatha helps Wanda get her sons. I think it is Billy trying to get his mom. So it is just Agatha being that. Agatha's the puzzle piece for the Maximoffs, but just like in the reverse, instead of it's Wanda trying to create a town so she could find her boys, it's the boys trying to find her. And so, like, obviously, Tommy and Speed's not necessary in a witch trial, but like, so I think that's why he's Billy Kaplan, but maybe not. Maybe it is just regular Billy Maximoff. But yeah, I think the reason he has like the spell book and all that stuff, and then we really see his powers shine, is that like he was trying to keep up the ruse that he was just some kid who loved Agatha and not somebody who was well aware of his powers.
Okay, that's interesting.
My thought was, even if I didn't have the thought that it was him who did it, but my thought was whoever did it basically to protect him from himself, because if he knows who he is, then he'll do what he just did, basically. Not because he's so dangerous, but because he's so powerful. And so I think that's a very interesting question, and I think that the why is as interesting to me as the who, because like, why would you want someone not to know who they are? You know.
That's why I think it was Jack Schaefer who put the charm on him.
That's a good point.
That
honestly,
reveal at the end of episode 5.
Exactly. But I think too, I will say about Billy in relation to WandaVision, Maze, is as far as I can tell, I don't think nothing that really happened in WandaVision with Billy, since they were just child characters, other than the fact that he has Wanda's powers, I think is important. Like, I don't think you need to know anything more than that, because it's not like he was a very well-rounded character. Not that he was bad, but just he was a child,
for sure. I wasn't saying specifically to teen/Billy. I was saying more in general.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. This is all going to end up back at Agatha and Rio, and what that relationship actually like truly is, besides the wonderful yearning that we've gotten throughout this series so far. And at some point we're going to get to that, and why they give each other these knowing looks when certain things have been said regarding Agatha's son and everything along those lines. And then where does the Salem 7 finish? I forgot.
I always forget you have the soundboard, and then right after I forget, you play something.
Yes, but yes, like that's where ultimately this series kind of goes next, because now that we have the Billy chess piece in front of us, what Rio is probably has to reveal itself soon, because we're dropping witches, we're losing the coven. The coven's falling to pieces. So we gotta see what's happening with how. Are we gonna get a Mephisto? Am I gonna find my white whale or my red whale in this case? Am I gonna get Mephisto at some point? That's what I want to know. And honestly, like, in terms of Agatha, I think ultimately the character itself, and I think Rod I think I've been in line with Rod as far as like, yo, let her be bad, let her be bad. Like I don't mind. Like I like that. I like that idea of continuing that theme. Where does she end along those lines? And the Nicholas Scratch thing. Like what ended up really happening? What role did Rio play in Nick dying, or is he a part of the Salem 7 like the books, or things along those lines? Rachel, what do you think about the Nicholas Scratch thing? Where do you think this might be headed?
Well, with the Salem 7, it gets confusing because, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the whole thing that Agatha was with them and then left, and that's when Nicholas Scratch kind of went on a revenge kick against his mom because she left and left him with the Salem 7. So it it would make sense that he's around, but also I don't know. We all are like, it's Wiccan, it's Wiccan, it's Wiccan. And it's like maybe he is still Nicholas Scratch and this was a whole thing, but then he still had this. I don't know. I don't. I think maybe he's dead, but maybe not, because if this is all Billy kind of messing with her, then maybe he was like, "Yep, he's dead. You killed him. Your son's dead, and
Also,
he's
we have
somewhere."
no clue what the rules are on the Witches Road, which I personally dislike at the moment because, as anyone who's met me for more than 3 seconds knows, that there's nothing I love more than rules, especially in sci-fi fantasy. But one of the advantageous things about it is that we have no idea how the Witches Road relates to life and death, how it relates to Earth and hell, and so Nicholas Scratch could be dead, but his we saw his his spirit said some stuff. Could he take a corporeal form on the Witches Road? Could she be confronted with that? Could he actually be living? Because we don't know the specifics, there's so many different ways that she could have a reckoning with him, and obviously they're setting that up, and I don't know to what end, but I think that we're going to see him in some form by the end. But also, did you really have a kid with a dude named Scratch? I just can't imagine going on a first date and being with a guy named Scratch and being like, oof, we're gonna hyphenate the name, aren't we? I don't know about Scratch's last name.
That's a little bit of disrespect to Ill and Al Scratch, rap group from the late '90s. Look that up.
Sorry,
kids.
guys. Yeah, I have to look that up. I'll be honest with you, that went over my head, but I appreciate the
It's
reference.
called Al Taker. All right, y'all check out that single.
Hey, Rod, is there? Oh, Jesus, Rod, is there, in terms of what intrigues you, kind of going forward as we spin this?
Dude, there's so much shit that I am obsessed with in this fucking show that is
yeah,
probably
give me
not
give me
even
a
that
couple
big of a
things.
deal.
Give me a couple things.
Little shit like when they fucking did the roots of the tree switching, and then everybody was riding fucking brooms, like it was the fucking Star Wars, like they were on speed or racers or what. That
I
was
had to
so
turn off
fucking
my
cool
lights.
to me.
That shit was so dark. Jesus.
It was so weird and cool,
Yeah.
and witchy and silly in its own way. It's
Mhm.
very Jeepers Creepers. The practical effects, I don't know what the fuck is up with the monsters that make up the demons and the Salem 7 or whatever, but that owl fucking thing or whatever, that is weird. And the action in this series is so different from any other action that Marvel's done, because it's not just stunt people flipping and karate chopping each other. It's
Yeah.
it's like witchy hijinks and shit. It's like sing the song harder and make the demon turn on fire, which is just I don't know. It's just so rock and roll and cool. And then next week it'll be something, it'll be something else with the Ouija board or whatever. So that was cool. The Agatha of it all is still so intriguing to me because I want her to be evil. I want her to stay evil. I don't want a redemption arc. And every time they do something that feels like she might stay evil, it's actually cool on the screen. If us not really knowing if she sucked the energy out of Alice and killed her on purpose or not is a cool thing. Cause I'm over here she did that shit. She had a lot of swag after that. Dog, when she fucking pretends to be Miss Hart, that's so cold.
That
You
was
know what I
honestly,
mean?
Yeah.
she should submit that for JFL characters. I really think that she could get a Just for Laughs Comedy Festival with that.
That's so, but that is so fucked up. She was faking the whole time.
She been lying every episode. She give at least
The
one
thing
or two
about
good
Agatha
lies,
is
man.
she's like such a powerful witch, but she fucking loved doing bits. And I think about in WandaVision, so much of the shit she was doing was just to amuse herself. And as
Yes.
someone who like constantly is doing small bullshit just to amuse myself, I'm like, yeah, if I was a hundreds-year-old witch and I was trying to get someone's power, that doesn't mean I won't take a few seconds to do a bit to amuse myself.
But the thing is, like, I get as much out of her not giving a fuck about Miss Hart as I would as if the show really was like, oh my God, Miss Hart, this will change everyone forever. I must redeem myself. Her not giving a fuck tells me just as much about that character. Like, oh, you something is broken in you. And then the other thing I was gonna bring up too is someone's died like every episode just about, right? Except
Basically, yeah.
in 4, does Wiccan count as dying because they like saved him with the moonlight thing? Like, are we counting that as a death, or did no one die in the episode?
I don't think he died because we don't get a shot of like his eyes closed,
Right.
and that's how you know someone died and then is brought back to life.
Okay, so technically, you might not have to die. Someone might not have to die every trial, technically.
And I think if what Rachel's theory or like is something like it is true, like what is if some of this isn't real, what does it mean? Like, could this all be in service of something larger? I don't know. I think that I am starting to really feel like the looseness of the rules is actually suggesting something as opposed to just being sloppy. And now, if it turns out it's just sloppy, then egg on my face. But egg was already on my face because I wanted her to be redeemed, and so
I mean,
I've talked long enough, but yeah, all that shit is I'm intrigued by.
I mean, there's still. Jake, there's still a chance that could happen. Like, they could reverse.
Honestly, I'll say this.
Yeah.
If I can navel gaze for a second.
Sure.
I was having a conversation about this on the Discord last night, and I realized, like, you know what? Because I was explaining myself. I always am looking for a redemption. Yeah. I'm schmaltzy. And I was explaining, like, up until the moment that dragon started breathing fire in King's Landing, I was hoping that Daenerys redeemed herself. And I'm like, I need to really take a look in the mirror about this. Because, like, I have been burnt, pun intended, almost like I'm constantly disappointed over and over and over by film and television, and I think I just need to find a healthier way to consume it because I'm constantly disappointed in characters that like everyone and their grandmother knows that Daenerys was going to go bad, but I'm like, maybe she could turn it around, and so like I think what I'm asking, this is a me problem, and it's a thing I really need to work on, with my therapist, and maybe.
So, Jake, what you're saying is you don't listen to women because they're just women.
I want everyone to be good. I want everyone to be good.
They're evil women the whole time, and Jake's like, nah, man.
Yeah.
Jake is looking at the Jake is looking at the exit polls after the presidential election every time, like, really? 53%. That's crazy.
I just am always. I mean, the two. I'm trying. Now I'm really scrambling to try to think of a male example that I've had this thought for. I'm sure I have, but
I bet you had a really tough time with Walter White.
I definitely didn't like when he let Kristen choke on her vomit.
You never looked at the title of the show. You just hoped that he turned it around.
Yeah,
he was on the last episode of the last season. Like, come on, man, stop selling.
They're definitely. I will say that definitely when he killed Jesse's girlfriend, like at the what I forget her name at the end, I was like,
you don't even remember her name.
No, the one that he was.
The next girlfriend.
Yeah, I was like, damn, man, Walter, you even did that? Like, I am constantly being disappointed by characters that are obviously bad.
Unbelievable.
He was like on Mad Men. He just kept waiting for Don Draper to go to a church.
I mean, okay, but that is how Mad Men does kind of end that way. It does kind of end that way. But yeah, so I guess I am too optimistic about fiction.
What
my problem.
That away?
No, it's not optimism. You're just skipping clues.
Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, I'm willfully. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm
got
delusional.
The blinders on.
Yeah.
Optimism is like maybe the Mets can pull this series out. That's optimism.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
I am
willfully delusional about film and television characters. There are many of us. It's a thing I own about myself, but it is what it is. It's a problem.
I'm glad that.
Wow.
Anyway,
I'm glad that we were able to. get
that was definitely more than I want. I said I was gonna navel gaze, but that was more navel gazing than I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I just
It was
appreciate
good.
you bringing up literally one of my favorite moments in all of television history is the burning of King's Landing.
I
might
was
rewatch
truly
that
distraught.
tonight.
I'm like, oh my god, because also every time I feel like an idiot because that's always obvious in hindsight, and I have like a Kaiser Soze montage of all the moments but she fucking like crucified all those people. Of course she's evil, you fucking moron.
She's like
it's
Cersei Lannister. She's a nice lady. She's a great mom.
Cersei. Actually, I was never there with her.
She's
Wow.
gonna figure this thing out. All right, she had a setback with the
in
step.
Game of Thrones 2, I was so disappointed when Jamie left. I was thinking Jamie wasn't gonna go back. I was so mad at him. I'm so delusional.
Tough one, Jake.
You're like,
I really
Cersei,
am. Oh,
You're like, Cersei really backslid with the whole blowing up the Sept with all those innocent people in it. But I think my girl's gonna rally in season 8.
I think there's still hope.
She's gonna have a couple more kids
can I
with
be
her
completely honest
brother.
with you? This is true. And Maze, you're gonna get mad at me for saying this. I got like 6 episodes into Succession, and I knew I'm like, no, listen. And I'm like, what I thought was, I'm like, no, I know that no character is going to be redeemed, and I know I'm gonna be disappointed, so I stopped watching. I'm like, I can't watch this.
Oh no, I wanted you to keep watching and be like, I love Shiv. Shiv
No,
is great. She's never gonna make
No.
I believe
Logan would have been his boy.
No,
Logan's
it wasn't Logan.
gonna decide to raise his kids. He's gonna be a good dad eventually.
No, I was like, I felt myself like being like, well, Tom is the good one, and I'm like, nope, don't do that, Jake, don't do that. And so I didn't want. I literally stopped watching because I'm like, I know that I'm gonna be mad this whole time, and so yeah. Anyway,
and Twist, the best character is Kendall Roy.
Yeah, exactly.
What would be the best show for Jake to watch with this unhealthy relationship with television that he's got? Is it just like Parks and Rec over and over again?
I mean, honestly, Parks and Rec is the ideal version where every character gets to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, they dig themselves out of every hole in that show.
Yes,
there is a show that I know of, but it's anime. And it's about a guy. It's about somebody being reborn. It's an isekai, like the person dies and then they come back as a child in another world. And it's the most wholesome show because everything always goes right, no matter. Like at the end, it always ends with the people making the right decisions. And I'm gonna send that to you after this.
And the funny thing is, I'm not really this way about movies so much. I think it's the relationship that TV has with time that I get attached, and I don't want to admit that the people I've been spending time with could be bad. I really, because it's movies, I'm like, whatever, fine. But
this was just
Rachel. What are you thinking?
Jake, they're fictional.
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. I'm aware. I'm not delusional. I mean, I am delusional, but I'm not that delusional.
Yeah, you're Delulu. We have established the Delulu.
I now pray you get to write a TV show one day because I want to see what the fuck that shit's like.
I mean,
it's gonna be the darkest shit you've ever seen in your life, Rod.
Jake, I need you to watch Hitman.
I've seen it live.
Okay.
I want him to
Did you think, this woman's a nice lady? She would never commit a crime?
Yes, I did. Until they revealed that she did. Yeah, I did.
I want
committing a crime, Jake.
I want Jake's version of Game of Thrones where.
Wait. Let me think. I'll say this. No, okay. I realized that she did the murder before they revealed it, but there was a moment where I'm like, oh no, she did, and then because also in that case I'm like, I thought, yeah.
Jake, it starts with her committing a crime. It is the introduction.
I'm aware.
Wait, so did you hate Training Day?
No, I like Training Day because the main character is Ethan Hawke.
Okay.
Wait, so is that the thing? Is if it's Ethan Hawke?
Did you stay
no, because Ethan Hawke is the good. No.
Stay till after the credits? Did you stay till after the credits?
No.
For Denzel to be like, actually, I was just bullshit.
No, the problem. What the actual problem is? What the problem is that if it's a character I identify with at all, I am like, well, they're clearly didn't do anything bad because I identify with them, and then yeah. But like, so when I watch Training Day, I obviously identify with Ethan Hawke's character, so I'm not,
Well, I just pictured you waiting until after the credits. You're the last person in the theater, and Denzel shows back up, and he's like, "I'm in the CIA, Jake." I was actually trying to cover.
No, Denzel. I'm not rooting for Denzel.
I like that in this theory.
Mm-hmm.
In this theory, you were like, no. all the people who I relate to have to like have similar
Right.
actions to me. Like, I love Wanda. I'm not gonna go enslave a towel.
Right.
I'm not gonna be like,
Can I say
hey,
this?
daddy,
Normally,
I'm in charge.
I
now."
am trying to verbalize what are not actually coherent thoughts. So that's why it doesn't make any sense. Because these are
They're
just
like,
feelings I
that-
have.
This character wouldn't do that because I wouldn't do that.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, no, it's okay. Sis, it's less. Honestly, I think it's less than I even expected, and more that I don't want it to happen. Like if you put a gun to my head before the last season of Game of Thrones, I would have said that Daenerys was going to be evil, but I didn't want it to
That's
happen. Is the
incredible.
thing.
Yeah, it's a weird blend of empathy and denial that you're.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is.
experiencing.
I want to believe. I genuinely want to believe that everyone is capable of redemption at all times. I really do.
You're trying to
Well, how do you watch
understand
horror
these
movies?
characters. Oh god, horror movies! Don't get them started. I'm guessing that's a
How do you
no-go.
watch
No.
a horror movie?
Because once again, I'm not identifying with the bad guy in the horror movie.
So when
Yeah,
you were
he's not
watching,
Freddy.
when you were watching Endgame, were you like, "Come on, Thanos, come on, man, you
No,
got a
no.
you got a second chance at this, bro. They got your
I
stones
think
back."
I'll say this. My outlook does not make any sense, but you guys are misunderstanding it.
When
It's more
when Thanos
fun to
was making soup,
misunderstand.
Jake. When he was making soup, Jake was like, maybe he's on to something here. Destroy
I don't know.
the entire world.
I
and then
just
make
am
the
always
soup.
I always want a positive outcome for the characters I like. I know that it's stupid, but I didn't realize it was this. I didn't realize that I would get attacked this much for that. I want
No,
good
it
things
is
for characters I
both.
like.
No, Jake, it's not. It is that your delusion has led you to believe that characters who gave you all the clues. It's like Mr.
Right.
Police
Yeah.
that gave you all the clues,
Mhm.
Right.
and you just ignored all of them
Yeah.
to
Like
get your own.
as a
Yeah.
writer, Jake, you would be the most frustrating type of person to write something for, because like, no, I did have the clues. They were bad. Everything was bad.
Oh yeah. I'll say this. In my actual life, I pick up on clues by people almost not at all. Almost every piece of information I've ever learned about someone is
Oh
something
my
that someone else told me.
God.
I'm sorry, yeah. Like the amount of times that like I've been around someone for a while, and then like afterwards it's like, yeah, that person's a dick. I'm like, they are. I really didn't notice. Like,
You
somebody
need the
cut
red
this part
flag
out.
guy.
no, I don't care. I don't care.
No,
you need
no,
the red flag guy.
we
Just
need
running
to
at
cut
all
this. I just
times.
wanted to be cut out because I feel like you're gonna get like emails from Nigerian scammers.
No.
You were gonna be
That's
calling
fair.
your phone like you're just
That's
like
fair.
walking around with sucker on your forehead right now. Don't do that.
I have had to cut. I will say that I've had to basically be. I'm very conscious of not being scammed because I'm aware that I'm very scammable.
Someone's gonna call
So
Jake
you're
tonight,
saying when
like,
you get
Jake,
the
Jake, are you gonna take care of this
Wait.
baby because it's yours? Okay.
Oh my
God damn
when
it,
you
God.
get
step up and
the
be a
Catherine
man.
Hahn agent man
Mhm.
DM, you're not like, hey, maybe that is Catherine Hahn.
Yeah, I definitely have. I'm trying to think. Like, I have not really been fully scammed because I kind of
Fully
like. I'm
scammed?
definitely.
It's coming. It's
Kind
coming.
of scammed?
You
What?
keep talking
what?
like this on
Yeah,
the public
definitely.
airwaves.
No, I
it's
definitely
gonna
have.
happen.
I've definitely been kind of scammed for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Where
I
are
don't know. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
What a tangent! I can't believe it's taken
Yeah.
hundreds of episodes of Marvel Cinematic University to uncover this Jake
Yeah,
character
I'm-
flaw.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm so glad I was here for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is incredible.
Wait. That means you should love the fake ass Captain America character from that fucking Winter Soldier bullshit, because he waited till the last
No, I
episode. Like,
don't.
actually, you know what? I might could be redeemed. That's a good point. I've been evil for 8 episodes, but you know what, Sam? I think you said something.
I don't
He's
like
like,
him
John
as a
Walker
character.
could be a good dad, despite him
Yeah.
sitting on his cell phone and reading news articles about himself while his child is crying.
He
I
only
don't mind you
beheaded
making fun of
one
me. I mind
innocent
you
person.
misunderstanding me.
He,
With a shield.
he only beheaded one person with that shield, bro. You mean he done forever? He can never be good? Come on.
That's not what I said. Not what I said.
We just, in quotations, have to tweet. He's probably a good guy, Jake Christie, about John Walker.
This is gonna be a thing for the rest of our lives now, bro. Every time
That's
I
fine.
watch a movie, I'm sending you something.
But if it's a character that I won't identify with, then I'm not gonna like that. That's just kind of what it is.
I'm gonna be like, yo, Jason's still killing motherfuckers, bro. He need to let this shit go. Jason need to find Jesus.
It's Halloween again, and Mike Myers got his knife, and he is walking around.
But you know what? I believe he could turn it around the third act, man. He just need to learn how to get some therapy.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, so Wanda, Agatha All Along.
Okay. I'm going to spin this forward, and I know Maze wanted to do a little penguin. I want to give Maze his penguin fix. So before we end with the Agatha portion, I'll ask everybody around the room everything that I've been asking everybody around the room every week. What is one thing that you're interested in going forward in this series that you want to see, either whether it be revealed storyline wise, character wise, whatever it could be? Rachel, you go first.
I want Wanda back.
Perfect.
That's about where I'm at. I don't care. I think I need this show to tell me that she didn't die at the end of Multiverse of Madness, just to make me not as angry as I am at Multiverse of Madness, a movie I still hate. Because unlike, I mean, sort of like Jake, my Delulu is that, like, WandaVision, like, showed that Wanda is a gray character, and then they brought her out in Multiverse of Madness and were like, actually, what if she was just bad? Which is not the case. So I want her to be alive and can redeem herself in Agatha All Along, and that's all I really want for the rest of the show.
Wonderful.
So redeeming herself is a thing other people want to get.
She's an anti-hero, Jake.
Jake, we've actually seen her be a hero before.
I'm aware.
So
I am.
We have some
I
evidence
am aware.
that she's not necessarily bad.
Well, I mean, Walter White is our nation's hero because he is a teacher. So
I'll say this. With Breaking Bad, I didn't actually think he was going to be good. I was just kind of like, Jesus Christ, that's a lot. I didn't think he was going to be good. I'm being clear. Like, I'm not that crazy.
All right.
Not that crazy.
No, seriously.
That's what I want.
Not that crazy. Not at all. Yeah.
I'm like once he killed Kristen Ritter, I'm like, okay, he's actually a piece of shit. So I'm done.
Well, yeah, that was the thing that did it for him.
Yeah.
Kristen Ritter.
I just can't believe you was rooting for King's Landing, bro. That's like rooting for Charleston in the Civil War.
No, I wasn't.
That shit needed to burn. Fuck that place.
Anyway.
Hey, Jake, what would you like to see going forward on Agatha All Along?
Agatha
a time machine where I could take back the last 25 minutes of everything I said out loud. God, I just hate the fact that I simultaneously know that me saying the dumbest thoughts that come to mind is good content.
How would chloroform work on somebody? Remember that,
yeah. What do I want to see? I want to see Rio and Agatha's backstory, but no one actually wants to hear what I have to say for that.
Same note too, Jake. That's what I want. I want like I don't know. Maybe it'd be like a little montage flashback episode. Maybe we get Agatha and Rio through the years.
Mm-hmm.
I just want more Aubrey Plaza in general, but I would like to know the history of the tension and maybe some past lovers interactions. Maybe ramp up that tension a little bit because I'm assuming they've known each other since Salem days. So let me see it. That's what I want.
Sounds like a plan. I know, Rod, you're on the whole Agatha theme as far as like you want to see her remain evil. That's your thing, right?
Yeah. But there's other stuff to look forward to. Everyone brought up backstory with Rio and Agatha. Also, like, I'd love some backstory on the Salem 7. I feel like right now they're just kind of like nebulous bad guys. You know, they're like, oh, they're after us, like Dementors in Harry Potter or something.
Yeah, they're basically the ring wraiths from Lord of the Rings right now.
Yeah, exactly. But clearly they must have some backstory to be following her for this and come through the back door to get into on the Witch's Road. So I like that. Obviously, who exactly is Wiccan? How are they going to define him in this universe as far as like the story of how he was, I don't know, reincarnated, or like why is he a teenager now? Like the WandaVision was only like 3 years ago. So like, there's just stories I want to know about him. I've understood like their comic book origins for it, but that the shows don't always use the exact comic book origin to explain stuff. So I want to see what they choose to explain there. And then yeah, man, just the Mephisto of it all is as AC has kept alluding to. Like I'm on the now that we've revealed this much 5 episodes in, I feel like there's room to go bigger. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me. Obviously, Mephisto is the thing that I want to see. I want to see that confirmed in visuals. If they could do that, I would be greatly. I mean, it would pay off. It would pay off like a 3-year bit on this show. So I would be happy if that happened. But yeah, the Agatha Rio stuff, that relationship is interesting. I want to see, like, to Maze's point and Jake's point, let's get a little bit more of a backstory on what happened and how they got here and what it means going forward. So that'll be fascinating. And the show itself, we're in the back half of the season, so you would
One other thing,
yeah, sure.
I feel like Patty Lupone was cast probably because she's got her own big song coming at some point.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
think they only cast her to sing in a chorus with everybody else.
Right.
So let me get that Lilia ballad, power ballad. Let's see it.
Yeah,
I would think so, because I mean we got to see her with Death. Yeah, go ahead, Rod.
With the way that character reads time and how they always have like her saying something that doesn't line up with what they're going through, they have to have some sort of like whole episode or something for her to be like. It's where we get the Kaiser Sose montage of like, oh, when she said that shit, she was talking about this shit. So yeah, they got 4 episodes to pay that off, and I hope one of them's dedicated to that as well.
Yeah, should be interesting. Looking forward to seeing what Agatha All Along has next. Yesterday, when I was talking with Maze about coming on, he was like, "Yo, I want to talk about some Penguin. Can we squeeze in some Penguin?" So let's squeeze it in. Let's squeeze in some Penguin. So Maze,
I haven't seen Penguin. Am I about to be like?
Yeah, I'm an
spoiled?
episode behind too. So
like,
all right,
what should
so
I do? Should I hop off? What should I do? I don't want to make
we could go.
no
We could go general. We could go general.
Yeah,
general,
I'm not trying to spoil shit. I mean,
we could go general. I've seen everything, but we could go general.
I heard it's good.
It's good. It is.
Yeah, I was not anticipating it. I wasn't exactly like, ooh, I can't wait for this Penguin show. I didn't see the Matt Reeves Batman and say, ooh, you know what they really need is a Penguin spinoff. But I've been very pleasantly surprised. I think it's really well written.
Yep.
Like, I think that's really the most important part of this whole thing is it doesn't feel like they just made it to make it.
yeah.
And you know, one of the things I remember from the movie, and that's still obvious, is like you can't find Colin Farrell in that character.
Nope.
Like he's the voice, the makeup, the posture, the walk, like all of it is very immersive. It's a really powerful like transformation, and it's the easy joke to make, but like, yeah, it's Sopranos Gotham.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that we haven't had someone try to remake The Sopranos in some sort of, you know, Marvel IP genre stack like this before. And I'm really enjoying it. I do think it's funny how the internet has decided to get into a pissing contest about how long they've known that Kristen Milioti exists.
So
like,
stupid.
Hasn't she done enough to like have credibility? I guess not. We got all
Well,
jerk
no,
each
because you
other
have to
off
remember,
say,
Maze,
I
people
remember
on
her
the
in
internet,
30 Rock.
people on the internet only watch like 3 things, so they
That's
need
right.
to show off the things they watched.
When
Oh,
it
yeah.
did start because someone was like, "Oh, where were all of you at Palm Springs?" And people were like, "Palm Springs," and so then it just ushered in everyone kind of
Yeah.
dogging on
That was
one
very
person.
much, you know, that famous tweet of the fact that I sometimes am in danger of seeing a 14-year-old's opinion is a crime against humanity. That's really what that was like.
Yep,
Yeah, 'cause
pretty
it was
much.
like, because then everyone was using examples, and then like every Broadway person was just like,
Yeah, well,
cool, since like 2014 for me, I guess. Like, it was just like a very funny series of events where people were like, I guess we're all doing this now.
I feel like
But she's
we're gonna
very good, and
see-
she's playing an against type character. So give her flowers, even if they are a little warped.
I feel like we're gonna see more and more of this stuff too, because like with studios and these places not really greenlighting a lot of shit lately. I feel like one of the surefire ways to get your shit done is to be like sprinkle some IP on it. To be like,
Yeah, for sure.
yo, I really want to make like a sophisticated anti-fascism. What do we call it? Star Wars Andor? And they're like, yeah, sure, you can make it. Cool. like, so
Yeah.
maybe that's what happened with Penguin. And it normally, hopefully it keeps going well. Unlike, Joker, Folie à Deux, which sucked for
that
me.
thing.
What was that, Rod?
Joker Folie à Deux. Isn't that how you pronounce it? I don't know.
I think the general thing I'll say about Penguin, and it was something that me and Jake talked about a few weeks ago. I have an appreciation for how Matt Reeves has built out this universe and how he's kind of just made it multi-layered, and then getting into a character that we saw that was interesting in the Batman movie, but then really fleshing it out. I will say this: Renzi Feliz is acting his ass off in that show. He is doing
Stuttering his ass off.
He's doing some work. That relationship between him and Oz, that's kind of the foundation of where this is. These two kind of underdog characters trying to make their way to the top for different reasons, and the way that Oz is kind of trying to bring him under his wing and stuff like that. That's been a lot of fun to watch. And
can I make something clear quickly?
Sure.
Neither Oz nor Sophia am I expecting to be good. Okay, I'm not that crazy. Okay, there are characters that I'm capable of.
Hey man, Jake, you're the one who brought it back up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I could tell that Jake was sitting there waiting for his moment.
They're,
to be
Right.
like,
they're gonna fucking
don't-
shit on me
No.
and tell me that I think the
because
Penguin's good, aren't
the
they?
thing is, you know why? Because I don't mind that you guys do this, but what I don't want is people to be tweeting at me when like there's a new slasher movie and be like, "Do you think this character's gonna like?" One, you don't know me, and two, I'm not like, come on.
So you don't want them going
will
on
say-
at the Jake Christie and saying stuff to you like pulling up old movie clips and stuff and be like, I bet Jake was surprised by this reveal and stuff like that.
I thought Scar
just-
was gonna
just
pull
saying.
Also,
Mufasa.
whoa. The word is not surprised. The word is not surprised. The word is disappointed. I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed.
No, they're just gonna start replying to your tweets with clips from old movies and just go thoughts.
I also like that because of that, because of this disability you have, you'll be disappointed in these people, and I fully know they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
When they
I
tweet
find
you,
myself
you're gonna
I
be
find
like,
myself
wow.
disappointed by people so often.
Yeah.
It's a me problem though. It's a me
It really
problem.
is. Oh well,
I
I'm
will
older
say,
than you.
with the
I'm broken.
with the Penguin,
Yeah.
the 4th episode is very clearly the best.
Oh, okay.
So
We got
I'm
something
very
to look forward
excited to
to.
see how
Okay.
people
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I
The
really,
screener,
Rachel,
okay.
honestly, like the third, I really enjoyed. I like the kind of world building, kind of going back to some of the stuff that happened in the movie, and
Mhm.
just kind of building out Victor's character and seeing where that went and the end of that episode. So you saying the 4th is like a certified banger?
Mhm.
Oh,
The 4th
okay.
rules.
All right.
The 4th rules, and then I've seen the whole season. I like it a lot.
Okay, cool.
But also, all you had to do was make Colin Farrell to Tony Soprano, and I was like, great. I need nothing
Yeah.
else. I don't care. I was like, you could have just been the opening sequence of The Sopranos, and I would have watched it every single week.
Woke up this
But, like,
morning,
this-
got myself an
Yeah.
umbrella.
I never liked that song.
Wow.
I never liked the Sopranos opening
That's
theme
a
song.
I don't
Okay.
even like music that's not rap, and I like that song. That's crazy.
I'd love that song. Great theme song.
Hey, but look though,
Yeah.
you know it must be good. I haven't even watched it. I know it must be good because no one's complained about this man wearing a fat suit. Like, no, that's the first thing the
no,
internet
I saw
goes
some
through.
people doing it. I saw some people doing it.
Okay,
They
all right.
did, and then they saw what the makeup looks like because
Mhm.
there's like a scene straight up where Colin Farrell is naked in a chair, a la like
Yeah.
James Bond Casino
Mm.
Royale, just like sitting butt ass naked in this chair. and the makeup is like very impressive how they make him look in it. And I think a lot of people were like, we don't like that he's in a fat suit, but that is very impressive.
Yeah,
And it
it
like
ain't dominated.
switched
I'll
from
put it this
there.
way: it hasn't dominated the conversation.
No, I
And
agree.
normally
I was
think
just joking.
Yeah.
whenever like this, when something's bad and someone has a fat suit on, that's like
Yeah.
all the fuck people want to talk about. So I was like, he must be killing it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll say this, like, just in terms of watching the show, it's something definitely that makes me want to see how Oz builds into this person that is good. And I mean, not good enough. I mean, like, in terms of just like the weight of the character, in terms of going up against the Batman in a future installment of that
Mhm.
movie, and just seeing kind of the road to how he gets there is so fascinating because he's so sniveling. You see the flaws, you see the vulnerability in Oz. So to see how he gets there and how the machinations work and how he tries to figure things out and how he pulls Victor under his wing, that stuff is very fascinating. And again, like I said, Matt Reeves has been very deliberate and very intentional of how he's built out this world and this Batman universe. And anything that he's doing, like, I'm all in because there is an appreciation for the level of storytelling and dedication to character that he's had with his.
How much Nirvana is in the soundtrack?
None, I don't think. But
Okay.
In the Penguin,
yeah,
the Penguin.
there unfortunately none yet.
because that's Batman's music. We get the Penguin.
Yeah, that's Batman's music.
Okay.
I will say that is my favorite part about this show is like, not only are we getting to see Gotham from a different perspective because it's not Bruce Wayne's Gotham or Harley's for that matter, because we've seen like Harley Quinn's Gotham and Bruce Wayne's, but no one else's really.
Yeah.
I do like that it is very much like this is Oz's world, so it's a lot of like old standards and like Frank Sinatra-y music. Like it's very like Italian, which I love. I love that we Italian code the Penguin all the time. Happy for my family, but it's like it's really interesting because, like Jake said, it is like if I heard Nirvana, I'd be like, Batman's here. Where's Robert Pattinson? He's coming in.
Because the Penguin is not mopey. He like the thing I think is so interesting about him, and I talked about this on our Patreon episode about it, that like he's clearly searching to be some type of old school gangster, and so like the music he listens to is like what a gangster in the 50s would listen to.
I will say my favorite thing about this show is that he speaks Spanish in it. So they continue that canonically the Penguin speaks Spanish in the Matt Reeves world. They're like, well, he's speaking like it is literally a plot point in this show too. And I was like, that is the funniest thing that they were like, well, we did it in this.
Do he got gun umbrellas and shit?
Here.
Do he got gun umbrellas?
No, he does use an umbrella though, because I did an interview with the director and they were like, we don't want him to like look like a caricature. We don't want him to look like Danny DeVito Batman. And then they realized they were trying to go so far into not doing that he was in the rain in a scene and they like had him with a newspaper and stuff. And everyone's like, it's okay that he has an umbrella. It's raining. And then they were like, oh yeah, I guess he could just use an umbrella instead of us being like, the Penguin can't have one.
No, man.
That's so funny. You just know like that's someone's grand vision and like they got all the way to filming it before they were like, oh yeah, that part is dumb.
Like he could just have an umbrella there.
But
like when I was writing for Game Theory, they were like, hard fast rule, we don't want any sketches on the show. And I'm like, we need some of this shit need to be funny. You know?
Yeah.
Like that sounds good until, we're filming this shit and it's not funny. And then everybody's like, why the fuck isn't this more sketchy?
Yeah, for sure. And Maze, before we go, I guess, like, how have you just like overall felt about the themes of the show? Like, in your own like connection to in watching the Batman itself, how do you feel like this universe has been built out and watching this show in conjunction with that?
I probably still need to rewatch the Matt Reeves Batman again. It's a little fuzzy to me, but I think the biggest compliment I can pay to the Penguin so far is that even though Oz has super thick plot armor, they have me in suspense thinking that he's gotten himself into some real shit over and over again. So it's like the way that he's been, getting himself out of predicaments has been clever enough to where it's not like, oh, well, obviously he's going to get out of it because he's Oz,
Yeah.
And that's an accomplishment. In terms of like the themes, I think everything they're doing with Kristen Miliotti's character is probably the most interesting, because she's like got a bad reputation, and we're digging into her backstory a little bit, and we don't really know, like, we're starting to learn more about how she got that reputation. So I'm looking forward to like digging into that a little bit more. And she has big brown eyes that we like to stare into.
Uh-huh.
And
there's a lot of beautiful women on screen right now, let me tell you.
Just like classic mob shit, like power struggles, like people running and making decisions that shouldn't necessarily be. That's like one of the funny things about I just finished Slow Horses too. So like one of the things in Slow Horses was like, is the figurehead of Slow Horses, his first desk of Slow Horses, is he a fucking idiot? Like is he maybe the dumbest person in the entire MI5? Like is that something that that and that kind of like Game of Thrones earlier, sorry Jake, it's like being the person in power is not necessarily the most powerful position. Being the king or the queen is not the most powerful position. So like being able to manipulate the people in power takes the spotlight off of you and also allows you to operate. So I think that's kind of like, I'm not sure that Oz wants to be the head of the family. Maybe he will be eventually, because I think that's what the Penguin is supposed to be. But like currently in this show, he's finding ways to manipulate those in power, which I think is always an interesting topic for a TV show.
Yes.
I can't tell if Slow Horses is really good or just really British, but I enjoy that show a lot.
It is really British, and I think it's really reliable.
Yeah, I can't tell.
I do have one last Batman. Oh, sorry, go.
I was gonna say I can't tell because like sometimes they do shit and you're like, these are the worst fucking secret agents on the planet.
It's like it's still a comedy at the end of the day.
Yeah,
that's one. Yeah,
like,
they have Cartwright, River Cartwright. Like he'll pull off some crazy move,
right?
Like some James Bond shit, but then they'll basically do like a laugh track bit.
It's like
to end
it's
the
like
scene. You're like, okay.
It's like if every fourth episode of 24, Kiefer Sutherland just like forgot his keys or some shit. And you're like, wait, what?
Anything 24 will always get me.
Yeah, I will say one last thought on the Penguin. Yes. It does, even though it's a very grounded show, it does have the most impressive special effect in all of Hollywood, which is, of course, Shorea Dashalu's natural speaking voice. Anyway, that's my last thought.
Yes. Well, guys, this has been very fun to talk about. Who knew that we would unearth such...
Wait, it's been fun for you guys? It hasn't been for me. I'm kidding.
We're all gonna right before we leave.
No, it's okay.
Air, we're all gonna say nice things about you. Just keep
the thing.
When we get off the air.
The thing is, having been me my entire life, I have gotten comfortable with the exact position I'm in right now.
Hey man, you laid out like that's like, man, Jake, you are a pro. You are a pro's pro.
Yeah,
I can tell you that much.
People
I can't, for some reason I'm like, surely if I give more intimate details about the way my mind works, it will be better.
Yeah. The world needs people like that.
Exactly.
Well, I appreciate that.
Exactly. So I want to thank everybody.
How else are scammers going to make a living if everybody's cynical like me?
Exactly.
And on that note, I want to thank everybody for joining us, and let's go around the room and say first, Rachel, thank you for coming back to the program. Appreciate you as always. Let the people know where we can follow you and find your work. You're talking to everybody. Didn't you just make the Critics' Choice, folks, or whatever that's called? Congratulations on that.
I am a Critics' Choice Association member.
There you go. Love to see it. Yeah.
You guys can read my work on the Mary Sue and at Collider, where I do reality TV stuff. And you can listen to my podcasts. I have 4.
Oh, wow.
I have Cinema Sibs, which I do with my brother. The Fordcast, which is a Harrison Ford podcast. Pedro Pascal, which is a Pedro Pascal podcast. And then Powell Pod, which is a Glenn Powell podcast.
Yep.
The
There's
Glenn
a
Powell
theme.
thing, I'm gonna dive into. The Glenn Powell thing.
Glenn
I'm
Powell.
all in on. Yeah.
And so am I. And then you can follow me on Twitter at Rachel Leishman and on Instagram and TikTok at Rachel_Leishman.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Anthony Mays, yes, it's been a pleasure to have you on once again. Remember, you still gotta come back for Brave New World at some point. I can't wait for that one. That's gonna be a doozy.
Fuck!
You don't want
I
to
knew
be
there
here
was something I had to do. God damn it!
You don't want to be here for Jake's disappointment when when it turns out that some of the people from Winter Soldier are still bad guys.
I'm trying to think of who I'll be disappointed in that movie. I don't know if there's
Giancarlo Esposito.
No.
What about Elaine? Elaine from Seinfeld might be in it. She might still be bad.
No, but I know she's bad. I got that she's bad.
Is she? There's always hope. Don't you lose that, you pretty little bird.
Yes, Mace.
As Jake ponders who he's gonna root for in Brave New World, I have a new podcast that has returned. It's an old podcast.
Yes.
It's a new podcast once again. Basketball Illuminati. This is the logo. Keep your third eye open. We are back. It's great. Just in time for the new NBA season. It's me. It's Tom Haberstroh. It's Amino Hassan. Check it out on the old podcast machine.
Wonderful. And you can't forget Cinephobe, because Cinephobe is, well, obviously Cinephobe is my favorite show that
I get more than one plug?
Yeah, you get Cinephobe. You gotta talk about 4 things. You can get Cinephobe in there, man.
Cinephobe. Terrible movies. Under 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. We're in the middle of Dante's Peak. Double dip. It's a 2-parter, and everybody needs to
put this town on alert.
That's a good movie. I stand by liking Dante's
Thank you, Rachel. I agree.
Pierce Brosnan in a lake. Let's go.
Pierce Brosnan, Bond versus a volcano. What's not to love?
Wonderful. Yes, that part 1 with Mike Ryan is out now. So check that out. Check out Cinephobe. Like if you're looking to laugh, check out Cinephobe's been on the heater. There's been the Wolverine X-Men Origins episode. Jesus Christ. And
yeah, if you want to break yourself off a MCU adjacent superhero flick, dive into X-Men Origins Wolverine. What a fucking misfire that was. God damn.
Yep.
Just tremendous stuff, man. Appreciate you for joining us, Maze. And Rod, appreciate you for joining us, man. Where can we find you, sir?
Yeah, man. Just search everywhere you get podcasts. The Black Guy Who Tips comedy podcast. Do it 4 or 5 days a week with my wife. And find me on social media. I'm still on Twitter until the fucking bird goes down, going all the way down with the ship. Elon Musk ain't driving me off. Rodimus Prime is my Twitter handle. And appreciate y'all having me on. It's always fun.
Salute, brother. Salute. And Jake Christie, the good man. Where can we follow you, sir?
You can follow me on Twitter at the Jake Christie, and of course I'm on TikTok at the Jake Christie, where I'm doing the Museum of Twitter. New tweet every day. Almost at 100. 100 will be next Monday, so I'm excited for that.
Wonderful stuff. Yeah, check out the Kevin Smith one that Jake did today. That was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I did the Kevin Smith tweet today, the famous one.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Rachel. I know you're disappointed in me, but I had to.
No. I just remembered what tweet I have to ask you if you've done, because you asked me to do it, and my favorite tweet of all time was used. But I think I got one. If someone hasn't had
let
it,
me know when we're off air.
Sounds.
Oh, that just made me think about it.
Sounds like a plan. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at AnthonyCanton_3. Follow the show on all platforms at MC University Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at 300. We will give away a free ticket to Captain America Brave New World. We will pay for your ticket. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, patreon.com/MC University Pod. You can get the bonus content. We got the Bad Boys 2 episode. We got subscriber mailbag coming later. Been doing the Penguin, doing other things. The Discord was fun. We had a fun conversation about alleged things going on with Captain America Brave New World. Hence me bringing that up to Maze at the end of this episode. So if you want to get some like inside tidbits of things that I may or may not know about what's going on in the MCU, that's a good reason to subscribe as well to our Patreon. So for Rachel and Rod and Maze and Jake, I'm Anthony Canton III. This has been Marvel Cinematic University, and we will talk to you next time.